Sperry, I wanted to hear your thoughts on how Kyrie has been doing.
I thought he was really good the last 2 games at right back. I've had zero qualms with him there.
Really good? Was that you just speaking into a microphone, or
Yeah, no.
you're good with really good?
Like, he was really freaking good. Like,
Okay.
I'm fine for what I've expected of him. Was he the best right back you've ever seen? No.
Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another shade of blue. 4 wins in the last 5, 3 straight across all competitions. Sporting Kansas City are finally giving us something to cheer about. We are the KC Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley. Thad Bell and Daniel Sperry are here, coming at you from Corporate Woods. We're back in the studio, Thad.
I know, it's very nice, man. They got the really cool mics. I mean, I can see you. It's not like you're hiding because your bandwidth is so terrible you can't even be on your own StreamYard. It was good.
We come alive in the studio. There's something about the professional environment. It feels good. Sperry's booming voice.
Is it the
in these
professional
mics.
environment, or is it just like the fact that we can all see each other?
I think that's what it is.
and you got to behave because I can throw stuff at you. You don't.
Yeah.
That's true.
And break a lot of very expensive things in these studios.
We did not sign a waiver.
I will be accurate.
Go subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. I don't say that one enough. Please go do that. Boys, look what happens when the strikers score goals.
Look what happens when anybody scores goals.
Yeah, usually that means a win, right? Well,
We were scoring goals
scoring
and not
goals.
getting wins is because the strikers were not doing anything. The strikers have started scoring. Willie's got some. Alan Polito got off the mark last night. When was the last time Alan scored?
Omaha.
Oh, my
Omaha.
gosh.
So the last goal that Allen scored was
In-
Omaha. The last scored in league play
There you go.
was St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
But he was injured, missed a few more games than Eric Tommy did, the other goal scorer, who also his last goal at any competition was the St. Louis game.
We broke some streaks.
Some off the schneid, as the hockey folks would say.
Wait. Who scored that second goal? I don't remember seeing him on Sporting this year.
You haven't seen him since St. Louis.
Oh, man. Yeah, he, even before that goal, still looked entirely snake bitten. Like, there were a couple of bad passes where I just am watching this. I'm like, he can't do any of the things he used to do. He doesn't have the hold-up play. He's not as fast. Not that he was ever that fast, but the passing wasn't even there at times. And then it was like, oh, my God, he finally scored. Oh, it's offside. This is never going to happen. It
Yeah.
felt like it was never going to happen.
But I also wonder, too, for Allen, like how much, even if it was offside, right? You get that goal. He hit it. He didn't think about it. It was just like fluid.
Yeah.
Straight up, go at it, hit it first time, blast it low, you get the finish, right? Like it's almost like I remember back last year, right? He was struggling, he didn't look like he was in it, and then he had that goal against Seattle. He didn't think about anything, he just did it. And all of a sudden he went on an absolute tear. I'm not saying he's going to go on an absolute tear, but it's one of those of like when you're a striker and you need confidence and you just need to find a way to reactionary do it. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, the second half started. Obviously it helps to have Shallowy and Russell in there. There's a little bit more familiarity and maybe a little bit more consistency in what you know they are going to do with the ball. But even then, like the run that he makes, phenomenal. He's got the sense for it.
It was like a
and
carbon copy of the warm-up goal that he scored.
Yeah,
he scored it in the exact same fashion.
Yeah, and the finish was perfect. I mean, he sent Yarbrough the wrong way, curls it in the bottom. If you can, I don't know if you can go back and watch the replay of it, but you can hear the Spanish language announcer screaming goal as he's kicked the ball, like coming over on the broadcast, because it was just so obviously going to be a goal. Like,
You really can. It's clearly audible in the broadcast on the highlights.
And I'll do credit to him, man. I don't think he played a bad game at all. You said he hasn't been doing this other stuff. Besides the goals, he made some good runs. He did some other stuff that maybe
slowly, but he made those runs.
Yeah, maybe not perfect Polito passes and some of this other stuff. But even on the Tommy goal, I don't know if we want to break these down, but on the Tommy goal, when the pass from Nemanja went into Tommy, Polito pulled away and started running off of a slight different angle and pulled one defender with him and made the other look at him, which set Tommy up to, Tommy still had to do some individual brilliance where he did a chop and then cut back to his left and take the shot. But he pulled defenders away and froze defenders by that run that he made. So those are the things that when things are clicking, he does well and pays off.
Yeah, I'm referring to in recent games, he even had some chances. For a while, it felt like, he's just never like in a position to get a goal, and that's why it wasn't happening. And over the last few games, he had some golden opportunities, and it was just like, that dude is snake bitten. Like, it looks like he's a guy nervous playing his first game.
Totally agree.
That left-footed shot I think of in the first half against Dallas in the MLS match.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like that, there's a shot he's got time and space at the top of the box. Takes it with his left foot and he took an extra touch to get onto his left instead of shooting it with his right when he had the right shooting window open. And it's just like you could see he's thinking too much, and then he's like, oh my gosh, it's starting to like it. But that whole action, everything from outside of the view of the left wing back, and makes the run off that shoulder, and the pass is played through that gap. I mean, it's textbook. It's perfect, the run that you want from Pulido.
Well, earlier in that game, he had another moment that I felt that he was snake bitten. Someone stole the ball directly in the box. Do you remember this? It was a very quick moment that we kind of squandered very quickly.
Yeah.
But someone got the ball. Alan Pulido, our $1 million striker, got the ball like in the 6-yard box and just couldn't get it out from under his feet. I'm like, it's just not gonna happen for this guy.
I will say the pitch last night was awful.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Can
Like, on
they do
TV,
it
it
on
was
a bumpy
horrendous.
pitch in San Jose?
It looked like it was almost like they just like imported like half of NYCFC's turf from Yankee Stadium or
Do
something
we
like
have
that.
any
It was like-
information? Why was it so bad?
So I was
San Jose?
told this. No.
What, they got good weather there? What do
They
you
should
mean?
have. That's the annoying part. They are well within like a 2-hour, 50-mile radius, whatever you want to call, of like actual turf farms that like supply Super Bowl level fields and stuff like that everywhere. Like they are legitimate turf fields.
Well,
turf
to
farms.
be fair, the
They can-
Super Bowl fields have taken a lot of flack
Well,
in recent years.
Yes, because of what they did with it inside the indoor thing.
Yeah,
But one of the biggest things with like that, so they have no excuse for having a bad field, in my opinion.
No, they do not.
But like the goal boxes were a mess. The center, if you look at the center stripe, so they had a like right at the halfway line from the technical areas all the way up to like the middle, like the half circle. They had like this big red carpet kind of thing that looked like it was there, but it looked like it was a carpet, like just rutted out. And what they had there was they had set up the field, and I think they left it too long or had done it too early, but they had a 50th anniversary. So the San Jose Earthquakes like celebrated their 50-year anniversary, 50 years of the San Jose Earthquakes dating back to NASL days, like in their last home game against Chicago. And they had a banquet on the field like the day before. And they had all that stuff on there, and it killed whatever they did. Whenever they did it, it absolutely ruined that section. And there's, Bay FC plays there, San Jose Earthquakes play there. I want to say there was a training or something else going on there as well. So, I mean, that field gets a lot of tear. But even then, like we saw last year with Sporting's field equally sharing the Kansas City Current home games and Sporting, like the last 2 years,
it's hard
and
to
it
survive.
never looked that bad.
Hard to survive a
Never
banquet
looked
like
that
that.
bad. Yeah.
Did you guys see what the Chiefs ring ceremony did to the lawn of the Nelson Atkins?
No.
Oh my God, bro! There's a sidewalk that is in crumbles. From
Really?
I don't know what they were doing there, but
Too many offensive linemen
A
standing in
lot
one
of
spot.
really big dudes just walking on that sidewalk.
I don't know. But people are mad. It was like that for a couple weeks after. I don't even know if it's been fixed yet. But that
it's
ceremony
crazy.
destroyed the front of that area. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I can't imagine playing an actual soccer game on it, and it was bad. People were slipping, falling. We had some bad slips in the back, like at terrible moments
Both-
where it looked
both
like a
teams.
goal was coming.
Castellano slipped multiple times last night,
Yeah.
and he slips on that initial when the goal that was scored when they're coming down, and they're each to a man. He slips as
Yep.
that pass gets played in that Kyrie eventually accidentally puts in the net.
Was that him or was that Robbie?
It was him.
Well,
I was thinking it was Robbie.
Robbie had one too where
Yeah.
we had played the ball back and he was, facing the goal and trying to make a turn and slipped, and he miraculously like stuck the foot out there and
There was
saved
another
it.
one last night too where Castellanos, I remember this, the ball, like I think their star player, the Hernan Lopez guy that they paid a $250,000 to get shut down by Kyrie Shelton and Tim Leibold all night. He was like driving through, dribbled through, had a shot. He was running in on goal. And like Castellanos, like the touch is too heavy. It goes to Castellanos, but as Castellanos tries to slip, he slips down as the ball's at his feet, and it pops the ball up in the air, and he heads it while he's sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the heck is happening? It's absolutely wild.
I like Casty, man. He does stuff like that. Because there was one he was on the ground and he kicked it also.
Yeah, there's
He's gritty.
he's gritty. He's very instinctual, and his instincts are usually pretty good.
Yeah. He's not perfect, but he's a really fine third center back.
Yeah.
I had just watched a video a couple days before that of, like the good old days of football, and it was just showing them playing on this terrible field and just like heading the ball back and forth. No one cares about possession. And then I see this game. I'm like, wow, look, we still do that, playing in the mud, bumpy pitches.
It was like a CONCACAF match, man.
It was. I'm tired of seeing all of that as of late, but yeah. Yeah, and San Jose, come on. California weather, zero excuse.
No, there's zero excuse.
No, there's one excuse: money. Because that's all it would have taken was money to have replaced that fast enough to have it
And
at
that's
least
what
in reasonable condition.
And that's my
knowing that
view of
ownership
San
group,
Jose. Exactly.
they ain't spending the money.
That's
for it.
my view of that.
Someone
of
joked
that,
that
whole team.
Lucci took the keys to the turf management closet as he was fired.
Yeah, San Jose, not in a good spot. It's just for a long time, it's just an ownership that doesn't care. They do things wrong consistently. But it got a little sketchy at the end of this game. I think Sporting got lucky. And for me, that's the biggest shift. Not that, oh man, we're playing better, we're putting some wins together, we're going to make a run at this. It's that maybe the soccer gods are not working against us anymore. That play, the 95th minute, I don't know how rare it is for an MLS team to call up the keeper in a regular season game.
They
But
had nothing to lose.
But yeah, I know. I guess they don't, and they were clearly sensing a win, that there was a result there for them. So they call up Yarborough. He's up there for a couple different sequences, and the ball pings around the box and just falls perfectly for the equalizer. And the dude just hits it with his opposite foot and then muffs it. And I don't even care to know this man's name. I don't want anyone to.
You should.
No,
I don't want.
I know this
He
guy.
doesn't deserve it.
I've interviewed him.
Okay, who is it?
Preston Judd,
Preston Judd. I know.
former SKC2 player.
Oh.
He never made an appearance because like a week later he got drafted by the
Yeah.
LA Galaxy.
They signed him. He was at an invite only trial camp, and they signed him. He was good. He had potential. They signed him, but in the contract they said if you're drafted by an MLS team, you can go. And then he was drafted by the Galaxy, and the Galaxy signed him to the 2 team. So he didn't really get any advantage out of it.
He did play with the first team too eventually for the Galaxy. And
He
got a
did,
first
but-
team contract and
If he
he scored a couple goals. He wasn't good, but those were bad Galaxy teams. But
He did.
yes.
He did the patented mistake where you hit it with your plant foot, like the person kicking a ball for the first time. How you messed that up? That's what he did.
It was. I went back and I was like, wow, like you must have like had a deflection, and then I was like, oh, it's out for a goal kick, and I was like, holy crap!
The announcer-
he absolutely whiffed on it.
The announcer instantly gave credit for a tackle from Castellanos. Like, there's no way the guy muffed it that bad. It had to be a tackle.
Hey, in fairness, we have seen Sporting players take shots on goal that missed the entire inline and went out for a throw in. I'm not going to mention his name, but we will probably talk about him later at right back.
Oh, yeah.
Caden Pierre? I'm just kidding. No, Caden Pierre didn't do that.
Yeah, Thad, the luck. That wasn't even the only moment. It got very tense the whole end of that game. Are we getting lucky now? Are things in our favor?
I mean, odds, luck, all that stuff evens out over a lengthy enough time.
And we weren't getting it, and now we are.
But some of that also, they did play better.
You got to create your own luck.
Okay.
You create. I mean, like you create luck by not letting those situations hurt you. I don't know. Like for me, you put yourself in a position. So the goal from Alan Polito pretty much iced the game at that point.
Yeah.
and they were very much in control. The only way San Jose got back into the game was a bit of bad luck, was Johnny Russell's miserable back pass that got hung up on the crappy turf.
That's not bad luck.
No, but it is.
Well,
it's a bad pass. Do you expect
a guy missing from 3 feet out from the goal is bad luck for them, but Johnny's bad pass that like got hung up on the turf isn't bad luck for us?
No,
I mean,
it's not bad luck for them. It was good luck for us.
Well, yes.
It goes
But that's
one's
why I
bad,
think-
one's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. Like,
Good luck that he sucked in that moment. And it was good luck for San Jose that Johnny sucked in that moment. But it's not bad luck for us that Johnny hit a bad pass.
yeah, but you're also put yourself in a moment where you are so in control of the game that even when you screw up, that you have put yourself in a position to largely control and see it out. And in MLS games, those tight moments happen. There's been enough fluky, stupid things late that have happened that were because they were not paying attention and not attentive to every single detail. And I think Eric Tomic actually pointed this out about Kyrie Shelton. There was a play that he had in like the 92nd or 93rd minute where he was that it seemed destined to go towards the net. And Kyrie was tight to his man. He was not a yard off like they have been at times throughout this year. Kyrie was tight to his man. It did not allow the shot to happen, or he blocked the shot at the eventual goal scoring chance because they created their own luck. They were more attentive to detail, and their concentration, as we've heard all along from Peter, from Leibold at times earlier in the year. I remember asking Leibold about it post game. He goes, "We got to be more concentrated, Tommy. Got to be more concentration. We have to have greater attention to detail." Well, they finally are being a little bit more greater attentive to detail and concentrated. And guess what? They created their own luck.
Thad, do you have any thoughts on Polito that we didn't get out?
I don't know that not really that we didn't get out, but I just do appreciate that he was much better this week. And I think he's slowly getting back to his normal self, whatever that is at now, because who knows. But
I think his normal self is just maybe kind of streaky. We've seen that.
strikers.
And so if he's going to be on over the next couple months, then hell yeah.
There's strikers that you can kind of rely upon scoring every 2 games or every 3 games. They'll consistently do that most of the time. Others are very streaky, and so a streaky striker, maybe we should just call them streakers.
Good God. I don't like that I laughed at that.
Dad joke, sorry.
Polito is one of those guys where when he's scoring, all of the stuff like looks cool. The notch in his hair and like the way he wears his shorts and he's all flamboyant and all of this. But when he's not scoring, it just looks really dumb.
He scored though, so
I know. And he scored. Now all of a sudden I was like, all right, you know what? The hair, not bad. Looks kind of cool.
I just really didn't notice his hair at all. So
He changes it a lot, but now he's just got this little fade and then a notch in the hair. I like it. But again, before the goal, did not like it.
what's the notch for? Is it like for securing in hats?
It looks like it could be. Like a little
Okay.
spot that
Wait,
like,
the hat he was wearing.
Yeah, it's just
The
going
other
there.
night.
The hat after the Open Cup game.
I've
That
never seen it. I need it. I'm just like someone who knows like men's fashion, but like as in like
Talking to
4
one, bro.
figures. Like we're talking like 4 or 5 figure men's fashion type things. Probably, I would assume. His hat, like that, the hat that Thad is wearing right now, just a simple little ball cap. It was like white, but it kind of was like torn-ish. Like it had like the little frayed. But
I think I've
kid
seen
you
him in
not,
his hat.
it was straight. Like if you cut the bill of the hat, just straight
just
across
chopped
the
it
curve.
off.
Just chop it.
whacked it with a machete.
Maybe I haven't seen that.
It was the most interesting hat I have.
But that's exactly the stuff I'm talking about. The Balenciaga jackets and the shoes and like all of this stuff, the crazy hats. It all, when he's not scoring, it's like, God, you look like an idiot.
He put that hat on because he was leaving after the game.
We were waiting to talk to Danny.
And I go, nice hat. And everybody looked at him and looked at me trying to decide if I was being serious.
Well, if you said it like that, I can understand why people doubted it, because you asked it as a question. Nice hat?
the inflection. Cody left it. Cody left the moment the rain delay hit, so he wasn't around for this one after the game.
Bolted out of there.
He said, I ain't dealing with this crap.
I did not get one drop of rain on my car, even the way home. I made it home before any rain occurred.
I did not get wet that game either.
My dog had not been out in like 11 hours. And you children, God, what? You hear the word wet and you just start laughing. No, my dog hadn't been out in like 11 hours. I went to take my dog out. Don't shame me for leaving that game early. I wrote the recap. I was there. I got the recap posted. It was good recap.
It was a good recap. I'm very proud of you. And I didn't even know you were there. I looked up at the press box at one point. I'm like, nope, Cody didn't make it. He's doing it from home, which is cool. No problem.
That's one of my favorite parts of sitting in the press box is like after the whistle blows, the game has started, and I try to locate Thad on whatever side of the field you're on.
I am probably 90% in the same spot.
It's usually where Sporting is attacking.
Yeah.
No. I usually go out to, it'll be usually the south stand, the south end. If you're in goal to the right on the edge of the 18, I like to shoot from about the edge of the 18, give or take a little space there, and that's usually where I go. Not all the time, but like if Sporting attacked that way first half, I may go and move. But I've heard people like, why aren't you in the attacking half? I'm like, don't defenders and goalies need photos too?
Goalies are people too.
I want people to start to find Thad in the stadium. Wherever you are, I want this to be a thing. Everyone finds Thad on the touchline and sends us a picture of him from where you're sitting in the stands.
Nobody needs that.
Zach's done that a couple times, and I like it.
Yeah, I've
to know you're okay. I like to know you're out there. Thad Bell's always watching. And we're always going to be watching you from the stands.
always watch.
We'll be right back. Thad, Robbie Voloder. We talked about him a little bit. He's been seeing more time lately. He's gone 90 minutes in 5 of the last 6, 120 in the Open Cup. And I think he's been playing a lot better. He had a really nice moment in this game last night. It's kind of a patented move for him, where he just bounds forward, takes the ball from the back line, goes through the midfield, and found Afrifa, almost set up a goal. Voloder's been playing better, Thad.
He's been playing well. He's always had really good qualities. It's just that he was not always consistent.
Yes.
And he's become a little more consistent. I mean, I've always liked Robbie. He's good.
He would just always there was an error in there at some point that felt like it was going to lead to a goal every time.
If not more than one.
Yeah.
And some of those games, I mean, he just wasn't great, but the whole team wasn't great. He's a piece that when the team is playing better, he's going to be better. You know what I mean? It's not that he's not going to be the best player on the team at this point in his career. Maybe he will be sometime soon.
Sperry, what do you think of Voloder bounding forward like that? I liked it. I know he does that a lot, and I'll admit, in the middle of it, I was like, all right, too far, just pass it. You're going too far. You're getting ahead of yourself. And then he played in a really beautiful ball for Afrifa who couldn't really do anything with it. But
yeah, Voloder has, he's very comfortable on the ball for a center back. Yeah. And, you can trust him to mostly make passes that will be completed. He's not quite... Okay, I'll say this. This might be bold on him. I think he has the passing ability and quality as Andrew Fontes does.
Yeah,
I don't think he has the mind or the confidence yet to do the difficult line-breaking passes that Fonte does. But
he did. The one I was just saying.
Yeah, it was. And but those were moments where Fonte marauds forward like that, that they used to happen a lot, especially when...
No, maraud's the wrong word. Lumbers.
Well,
yeah, for Fonte,
you didn't let me get to the punchline, which I was going to say he just did so much more athletically.
Yeah,
I mean, but there are tendencies to Robbie's game that are very, very similar to Fontes's, and it's not surprising considering he's a left-footed center back, ball-playing center back that plays on the left side on the same exact system and has been training with Fonte for the last 3 years. However, even in training, you can see he's got offensive ability. He scores goals. You get them in their 5-a-side games, he scores bangers sometimes. He has confidence. That's why they've played him at left back before. He's fine and comfortable on the ball.
Thad's been pointing that out on the show for a long time, that the one in training that scores bangers is Voloder.
Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous. There's some where you're just like, holy crap, what did he just pull out?
Yeah, because he doesn't need the room. He doesn't have to make the big run. He just has to give himself a little open space. Get past one guy and take those shots in small-sided games.
And
he will score. I want one absolute screamer from him in his career. Like
Yeah.
it will happen.
Yeah.
And he won't look like a center back while he's doing it.
Right. I would honestly, on some of the set pieces, I would have him not be in the mix of trying to be the tall guy getting the header, which he often is. Because, I mean, that's the natural center back role. I would leave him outside of the box and let him take see if he can do the screamer to the top corner.
Yeah.
So Voloder marauds forward. Fontes lumbers forward. What do we call it when Johnny Russell is going into the box?
He just
word do we
wings
give
it.
He is actually kind of winging. No, that's Eric Tommy. Eric Tommy is almost always winging it. Not sure what he's going to do next.
I feel that way about a Frifa, actually.
Yeah, a little bit.
Frifa, I think, has an idea what he's doing. It's just that he's not to that level yet. And
Yeah.
again, I've criticized him
Or
in
his
the past.
mind, his mind works faster than his body. Like he thinks and sees, but his body doesn't.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Davis.
I have a spot in here to talk about both of the young wingers that got to start.
Young wingers.
So, yeah, and we were just on a Frifa there. Only played the first half, 2 touches in the box, lost his aerial duels, couple missed passes that hurt, just wasn't showing a whole lot. And I think that's maybe just showed his limitations that Mike Kuhn likes to talk about in our Slack. He's not a hater of a Frifa, but he's the one that like pumps the brakes on a Frifa every time.
He's not going to be as like take you one-on-one.
Right.
He shouldn't be as take you one-on-one as
He can at times.
but he's got to be a little bit more isolated. And the way that Earthquakes back line
Isolated is one-on-one.
With less people nearby. I mean, you're right. It is
In the
one-on-one.
vicinity.
correct. But Eric Tommy. So here's the thing.
A place where it can't harm you as much.
Yes. At some point, there always seemed to be a midfielder or somebody that was bringing players back into his space, and he did not have the space and room to operate how he can 1v1. But I think he is better off. Like you see the goals that he's scored so far. He's done so inside. He is better working as kind of like an inside forward and not a true wide winger in that sense. And you even look at like Daniel Shallowy didn't really have the greatest impact when he came on, especially on that side of the field as well, because the one defensively with the back three at that point, the Quakes had 2 players kind of in that vicinity, and they were able to send 2 to a winger on each side. So it minimized it, but then
Shallowy had one moment, one series.
he did, but it was he came in and combined with somebody, and I didn't think Afrifa attempted to do that at all in the first half, and I would like to have seen him do more of that because that's the way he's scored his goals. The goal against the Galaxy was that way. The goal against Salt Lake was that way. He came in and combined. He got the ball at the top of the box, and he's sitting centrally as a winger. Like all those came off of plays inside, cutting in, and he did not. He was just trying to take people to the end line, I think, a lot, and it was not his MO did not fit what the Earthquakes were giving them.
Yeah, and you also have to remember most of his success has been when he started and had more of a game, or when he came off the bench against a little more tired people. So he's a guy who still is trying to find that rhythm and get a consistent flow. And you also there's been a lot of minutes for everybody in the last 2 weeks. So not everybody is going to be capable of doing all of that at that time. So I'm not really saying like his game last night was terrible or great. It's just it was okay.
It wasn't impactful.
Yeah, but he took up minutes. He took up space. He got in spots where he could have done something. It just didn't fall.
Yeah.
Johnny Russell's freebooting into the box.
Freebooting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I looked up synonyms for marauding, and freebooting is a real word.
I think that's like pirating.
Yes, you're well done.
I know words.
matey.
I know words. Yes, it's
Mucho
Spanish
palabras.
adventurers and explorers were freebooting.
It's very sort of laughing at my Spanish.
Oh my lord. All right, the other winger, Alenis.
Yes, Lenis Vargas. I think maybe showed his inexperience a little bit. He is positive. He tries things, and it just wasn't always working. I think if he went down very, very easy, he dove. I'm just going to say it like that. He dove at one point very early in the game, and then after that was not getting some of the fouls that he would have wanted. And I think that's just part of it. Like, it's just a little tougher in the top tier. You're not, the calls are going to go differently like that. You're not going to be as stronger or faster than everyone as he was with the second team. And I think that's what I was seeing from this.
He was still very much so stronger and faster than most of the San
Yes, he
players
is.
last night.
He is, but I think there were just some of these moments where a guy gets him shoulder to shoulder, a guy is there, and he wasn't quite expecting it.
Yeah. There's one moment that sticks out to me with him where like it was a switched ball on the flank and he took one touch, beat the defender with it, and was gone down the wing. And then cut inside and tried to pass to Polito, and it just messed up. I thought also, too, he and Tommy did not have the great, like Tommy was spending a lot of time out on the right in the first half, and he was very much constantly in and around the same space that Atlantis wanted to work with. And nobody was springing him in behind because it was Tommy then cutting back to the middle of the box.
Well, I have to imagine it's hard playing with Tommy and knowing where you're supposed to be when Tommy doesn't even know where he's going to go next.
That's true.
Pretty darn fair statement there, Cody.
Pretty darn fair statement.
Okay, I don't know where that came from.
He's gone from speaking pirate to speaking Spanish to
now we're on the
you're a Texas man over here.
Thoughts on Vargas, Thad?
Just pretty much agreeing. I mean, his experience. We've talked about how many times he's only played organized soccer, professional soccer for a few years, etc. He's got to play to his strengths. Sporting doesn't always play him to his strengths. So if you're not being able to free him to run, then you're not doing his best strengths. He's learning to play better, not just his strengths, but he's far from being the, starting winger in MLS in that role.
Last week, Thad and Zach talked a little about Kyrie Shelton at right back. He's been playing there a bit more. But Sperry, I wanted to hear your thoughts on how Kyrie has been doing. Even on the play last night. I don't know what else you can do. He actually gave Melia a chance to tap that out of there.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought he was really good the last two games at right back. Like, I've had zero qualms with him there.
Really good? Or was that you just speaking into a microphone, or
no,
you're good with really good?
Like, he was really freaking good. Like, okay. I'm fine for what I've expected of him. Was he the best right back you've ever seen? No. But in the game against Dallas,
you had to qualify those expectations.
There you go. That's why I was giving you a chance there. I would say good.
I called him out.
I would say good.
Did he get beat 1v1 at all from either team at all? Dallas
he gave
for 120
away a pass
minutes
or two
in Dallas for 120 minutes. Did he get beat 1v1 off the dribble? Did he look like he was out of place and didn't know where to mark? No. He, like, from where he was when they first gave him a couple of starts at right back to like what he's doing now, he looks competent. I would like to see him do more in the final third in terms of cross and pass, because I know he has that game in him. We've seen it with him as a winger. He's good at that, but I think he's been, for him to like the back line to also feel like one as a unit, like they were last night. Again, San Jose too. So, okay. Well, is it different if Dennis Bouanga's coming at him? Probably. But like I was very impressed with him. I was honestly very impressed with Tim Leibold too, after going 120 minutes, going full 90 last night with Christian Espinoza running at him, and Espinoza didn't do jack the whole time. So like both fullbacks were really good. I thought Kyrie, though, people got to stop hating, man. Like that own goal was not his fault.
No.
And
it was Johnny's.
Someone else's fault, or someone else was trying to put him as the fault for the goal from Dallas on Wednesday night, and that's very clearly on Danny Rosero for jumping when he shouldn't have. Johnny stays there, or if Danny stays there with his man, it's not a goal. He's marked.
You were asking if he'd been beaten one-on-one. No, not that I can recall. But then another point you made was that he hasn't looked out of place. And there have been times where I've thought that, where he was missing the awareness of, I'm not doing this in the midfield, I'm doing this in my defensive third,
Right.
where he's trying to dribble out of something or he gets turned around and then loses the ball. I've seen that where it's just the lack of awareness of where he is on the field and things like that. But
yeah, I
but
just
he
don't know
has
that
been good.
I don't know if
I'm not hating on him.
I'm just saying I don't know if I've seen that in the last 2 games. That's my point. Like the last whatever it was, 120 plus 90 from him, right? So last 210 from him have been, in my opinion, very good at right back for what I had expectation wise, considering the first couple of performances.
Okay.
Because I agree with you, I did feel that a lot in the first couple of games that he played.
But expectations for what you say, he's very good for your expectations of him. If you're not looking at how he's played, if you didn't know who he was, he's just some guy you signed from Germany, and you go, oh, that's the right back that they just signed? No. You go, he's all right. He's doing okay.
Yeah.
You're not going, oh, he's really good. This is not Kyrie hate because he's put in a tough spot, okay? Because it's not easy to go from being a winger and a center forward and a winger and filling in a bunch of different spots.
He's doing it serviceable.
And he's doing it, and it's okay. It takes time to learn defensive positioning. Because it's a lot different than being a winger playing defense up front and being the guy at right back or center back and knowing when to step, when to be on their shoulder, when to give them a little space, and all these things. And nobody does it perfectly. I mean, even the play with Danny stepping forward the other day, I can see exactly why he did it. It turned out to be wrong, but I can see exactly why he did it because he was trying to cut. If he was one step further, if he got just a little bit farther, now he cuts off those angles to 2 guys. That's a smart play. But because he didn't, it's a bad play. But on Kyrie, he's done much better. He's in learning. He's improving. And again, this is not Kyrie hate in any way. He's a great guy. He's a decent player, and he's doing better at that spot. But even on that bad Johnny pass, he's running. He can, because I broke this down last night. My daughter got home from work. She stopped by, and I was showing her the highlights, and we actually broke down the 2 goals, or all 3 goals. And we were kind of just doing it because that's like me and a daddy-daughter thing between me and my daughter. We would do stuff like that. And we were looking at those plays, like who did what and why guys made those runs and stuff. But Kyrie's running back, and he's trying to do the right thing. Remy's coming. He's hauling ass for a guy who's not played but 3 minutes since April, I think. He was hauling ass to get back, but he's pointing Kyrie. He knows Kyrie needs to get closer to the guy making that run over there. So he's pointing him over. Kyrie goes over, and he shades over that way, does the right thing as Remy gets beat, as the other player falls down, and now Kyrie's left with 2 guys. He tries to make the tackle, and he fails. Again, I'm not really blaming him. That's just if he does any harder, it maybe becomes a penalty. So he did the right thing. But then he also got up, and one thing I've seen people blame him for is he didn't react fast enough. He didn't get back fast enough. He got up so fast that he was already back to almost in the goal when that guy was able to take the shot. And sadly, it ended up as a mistake because he was trying so hard. He did the right things, but I just don't want people going, oh, he's playing really good. He's not playing really good. He's playing good for what he was.
Hold on, Thad's doing goal breakdowns. You're watching goals and analyzing it and breaking it down, and there's not a microphone in front of you that I can turn it into content. I actually really like the sound of this. Let's do this. Bring your daughter in here. Daddy-daughter goal breakdowns.
All right, we'll do it.
I didn't know you had this in you. The whole time we could have been doing goal breakdowns on this show.
You know, it's sometimes
Because you complain
depressing.
about how long it goes, so.
I don't.
Well, you have at times, but usually the studio ones you don't so much. But it's not always fun to do. This was fun to do last night because it was a win. Okay, wins are so much more fun to write about, so much more fun to talk about.
Hey, what do you know?
Even though they're, they moved 1 spot up in the standings. They jumped over Doom Loop City.
We're having fun.
And the crazy, creepy Whisper Sperry comes into play there.
You never know when that's going to sneak in there.
Never know.
Anyway, it's just more fun to talk about wins.
Yes, it is. A big part of that win last night was Nemanja Radoja. 2 assists. I felt like even outside of the assists, I thought that he played really well. I think he's been playing better. And he was FootMob's highest rated player for Sporting KC last night, man of the match for them.
He's my player of the game. He was my player of the game because he created both of those goals by smart play.
The
good
pass to Polito, absolutely phenomenal.
If it was,
I've been begging to see like a vertical line breaking pass from Radoja for the entire time he's been here, and he finally pulled it off. And it's like, hey, you have it in you, do it more.
We were missing that.
If it's a couple inches either way, the defender that was guarding Polito gets to it and knocks it away, or it's too far in front or too far back on Polito for it to be a perfect setup.
Or if he plays it too soon, he doesn't get there. If he plays it a split second later, it's offside.
Right. The pass was perfect. Polito's run was great because again, Polito did the right thing. He got to the guy's off shoulder, and when he's looking the other way, he made that break as Radoja made the pass. It was perfect.
Yeah, Radoja. I also, outside of the ball at his feet last night, he was an animal in mopping things up in the middle. Ball recovery, second balls, he was all over the place, constantly winning the ball back possession-wise. He wasn't possession-wise putting the team in a bad spot too. I'm going to play this pass here, but I'm trapping ourselves. That didn't happen in any way, shape, or form too. So I tweeted out at one point that was Radoja's best performance in a Sporting KC shirt. I can't think of one where I thought that his play was so noticeable in the outcome of the game. So that's why I said what I said. But he's had some phenomenal games for the team in the past. But that was one where it was just you have the ability to be a dominant defensive midfielder in the middle of the park.
3 for 3 on tackles, 4 clearances, 3 headed clearances, 3 recoveries, 3 out of 4 ground duels, 3 for 3 aerial duels.
Yeah, he's
menace.
He played very well. So 2 notes. One, Peter mentioned that he had subbed Nemanja out in the previous game so that he would be fresh enough to play this game full 90. So that worked. And 2, because we've given praise to Nemanja, we've given praise to Polito, we've given praise to Eric Tommy and Kyrie and Robbie and pretty much half or most of the team that was out there in some way, shape, or form. The question is, are they playing better, or was it just because it was San Jose?
And Dallas.
And Dallas.
I mean, that'll be answered in the coming days, right?
It will, but I think it's a really valid question at this point. I think that they're playing better. I don't think it's just that they're playing the other team. I don't think it's just that they're getting lucky. I don't think it's just the soccer gods have smiled upon us once again. All that comes into play.
A little bit of that.
All that comes into play. But I think that they are playing better, and it's sometimes you get healthy against bad teams, and then you go from there. If you look at last year, they're right now kind of like what they should have been 8 games ago. Of starting to get healthier and putting things together, and you start to see things get better. Last year they had a chance. Right now, we'll see.
We'll take a break, and then we're going to look around the table, talk about the upcoming games.
Which is what I kind of just said. Sorry.
We'll be back. Sperry, did you see the Liel Abada goal last night for Charlotte?
I did. It was phenomenal. There's a couple of really, really good goals last night, but man, the end performances. But in general, the performance that Charlotte put on in Cincinnati was phenomenal. Very impressive. I've been really impressed with them all along this year.
They're a good team,
and they have room to add, I think, at least one DP, if not multiple, in the summer window. And just the thought of them, if they add someone right and make a hot run in the playoffs, that's a team that defensively is going to be that. That's a team that could make a deep run in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs.
That goal that he scored was just it was a very simple goal, but it was just so calm, cool, and collected. And I watched it and thought, there is no one on Sporting Kansas City that could score that goal right now.
Did you see the Facundo Torres goal for Orlando?
Yeah.
The second one. It's
or the Cucho goal. Oh, my God.
Well, the Cucho goal is unreal. But
there were bangers around MLS.
The goal from Facundo Torres to seal it for Orlando was his second goal of the night. Was the perfect little just curling pass, used the turf to keep this ball speed and spin going, and it was perfect placement.
Yeah, Thad, I don't know if you saw this goal that I'm talking about from Abada, but He was played in, really good pass to him, but he had dudes on both sides of him. The pace of the pass in his first touch was just the way he brought it down, fired it in the blink of an eye. I'm not saying no one on Sporting could have scored from receiving this pass or getting the ball there, but the way in which he did it, I was just like, that guy's way better than anyone that we have.
I've seen Johnny do stuff like that in the past.
No, but see, I actually
that's the
thought
thing.
of Johnny specifically. Johnny could score a goal if given the ball in that spot,
Yeah.
but he's not going to do it with that class. It's going to look a bit more rough and tumbling. You know what I mean?
Maybe Polito 4 years ago.
Maybe Polito. But it's just the way he took the ball down, how quick he got the shot off. Yeah, that guy. He's 22-year-old Israeli. He's very good. I think he is one of their DPs. You said they have room for 2 more, but they're very good. That was a great game. A lot of good games around the league last night.
I know. I did not take the time to watch the games beforehand. I was like just spending time with wife because I get pulled away for soccer so much that sometimes I just got to sacrifice watching games and sit on the couch and watch TV with the wife. And so we did that. And then at 9:30, I'm like, oh, got to go watch the game.
I was looking around the table, and in recent years when Sporting Kansas City were struggling, we could look up the table a few spots and be like, oh man, 6th place is just a couple points away.
Yeah.
And the West is always so insanely tightly packed. But it's not really like that right now, Thad. There's a long way out of being in the mix. I mean, I think it's 10 points away from a playoff spot, but even further than that from being where we would like to be on the table. In years past, we were able to be like, oh man, just turn things around a couple games and they're right there. But even after, 4 out of the last 5 or 3 out of the last 4 in MLS, there's still a long ways to go. We leapfrogged St. Louis, but there's a long way to go.
Well, I'm waiting for MLS to announce that they're going to take the top 11 to the playoffs.
Right.
And then
Right.
we can say we make it maybe.
There's too much disparity in the league this year. We got to allow 11 instead of just 9.
That's I know. I mean, I hate being this person, but I was watching the scores to see if Sporting moved over St. Louis, and they did.
I do. I hate watch the table a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been doing that.
That and of course, I think they're now 2 wins clear they're 2 wins clear of St. Louis, Philly, and San Jose.
We're 2 wins clear of St. Louis.
Yeah. So
No.
St. Louis hasn't lost. No, I'm saying Sporting has 6 wins. St. Louis has 4.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying that because that is the tiebreaker,
I see.
the first tiebreaker in MLS.
Okay, I see.
And Sporting just got like 3 of them in the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always we just want to finish at the very very least. You don't want a wooden spoon, and you want to finish above Doom Loop City.
Doom Loop City. So I was looking back at this, and someone tweeted at me after I tweeted about the win, and they're like, with the the famous playoffs GIF,
Yeah.
and I calma, that was my response. Let's calm down,
Calmate.
let's chill. However, so I went back to look at it because I was just curious where Sporting was at, because Sporting over the last 9 games of the 2023 season picked up 18 points en route to their 44 points and finishing in 8th in the MLS Western Conference.
That's not
So I was
even
like-
absurd.
So I
You
was
know what
like,
I mean?
right. So I was
do
like,
that again.
where was Sporting at before then that break? Where were they at points wise? So it was on 26 points with 9 games to go. So with 10, if Sporting Kansas City were to win in Vancouver, Sporting would be in the same place going into their final 9 games as they were last year. So they're about
Interesting.
they're about now. Winning in
feels
Vancouver
like
is much more difficult, and I'm not saying they're all of a sudden going to turn it around too either. But if they won 6 of their last 10 games, Sporting would equal their win total from last season. It's a matter of, can they avoid the losses?
It feels
And
like
that's
we're
it.
so far behind last
They
year. Even as-
It feels like they are, and in reality, they kind of are, especially too because the table is what it is. But Austin, okay, we all watched Austin. I've watched Austin multiple times this year. Austin is not a good soccer team.
no.
They're not. Minnesota has not won a game since they beat Sporting back on June 1st. Literally have not won. They have a 6-game losing streak, cap ended with 1-1 draws against Dallas and Houston. Dallas Sporting just beat twice.
And then they won. They won last
and then
night.
they beat the freaking LA Galaxy at home. But this is why MLS is a freaking weird league, and anything can happen. But
That Peter Musa, man, dude,
he's
dude's
a very
baller.
good striker. Very good striker. Imagine if I can't imagine if like Velasco was healthy for Dallas and Paul Arriola and Sebastian Lletget weren't fading into the abyss of their careers. But in general, Sporting's out of it. It's I am way more sour on Sporting's ability to make the playoffs this year than I was last year at the same time.
Yeah.
Last year I really thought it was possible. This one I don't know that it is. However, it'll be really interesting to see what it looks like going into Leagues Cup. Because if let's just say Sporting gets 6 points. So they're on 29 points with 8 games left after Leagues Cup. That's kind of interesting. That makes it interesting. They have to win these next 2 games for me to feel how I felt
Like there's a
about
chance.
Sporting coming out of Leagues Cup.
I'm optimistic, and if they go to Vancouver and get this win in Vancouver, then I will feel.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start feeling stuff,
I think you
man.
can. At that point, though, I do really think you can start thinking, okay, maybe there is something.
If they go to Vancouver and even just get a result, like just get a point, that's
a draw.
That's a progress right there, and that would put them on 24 points. And right now, 8th and 9th make the playoffs, or they make play-in games, or whatever you want to call it, and they're sitting at 31 and 30 points. You have to pass them. You have to make it up. You have to pass them, and not enough teams right above them are being played. Sporting plays because they've already played some of them, but there's a chance. And you also have the possibility that in the transfer window you bring in somebody else who helps the cause. Of course, everybody else is saying that too. So
They've poured water on that a little bit, but
well, yeah, it's probably only one player. It's probably only I don't say only midfielder, but a midfielder that could help do something.
just the fact that they're winning more right now it's not necessarily making me believe that the team is way better than we thought. The players are way better than we thought we've seen this year. But they went on this run last year, and it is kind of the same team. I think we found out they got a little lucky last year. But, hey, if the power of friendship is going to carry this team on another run, like, I can believe that. They did it last year. And they've got the Vermees system that is just ingrained into every fiber of their beings. They know where they're supposed to be. They don't have to think about that side of it. And then, hey, we love each other. We're vibing right now. Things are good. That can carry them. It did it last year. And I can start believing this, man. The power of friendship is real.
I like that little phrase there, the power of friendship. We need some like announcer guy. The power of friendship.
No, it's just I'm
It's
stealing
like the
from
Power Rangers, like all over again, right?
Super Friends.
well, no,
power
I'm-
of Grayskull.
I'm just stealing from like the internet meme of where there's elite teams that are methodical and they can do all of this, the Pep Guardiola team, and then there's just the power of friendship, the good vibes team that like are pretty dangerous also.
I'm not sure Sporting can be in the good vibes team at this point, but yeah, maybe.
I mean, the vibes
Well-
were pretty good.
Bro, if they beat Vancouver, vibes. Vibin'.
The vibes were very good on Wednesday night. So
I'm too old to use vibin'.
So we are going to talk a little about Vancouver here, but Sperry, we were talking about the strange goals that they've been conceding as of late. They're scoring some nice ones, but the goals have all been chaotic.
yeah, well, this was kind of my point on it too, was the fact that the goals are chaotic, but like they're all self-inflicted. They all start from a self-inflicted thing, and they're not getting just played through like they were against Salt Lake, Galaxy. Who else did it to them?
Columbus.
Those 3 games, and there were some others beforehand.
When they were absolutely getting played through.
It was just fillet them right through the middle, and that is not happening. The last 3 goals, 3 of the last 4 goals that Sporting have conceded were entirely self-inflicted.
Yep.
One, you have the Willie Agata back pass that starts the chaos that ends up in the Tim Melia own goal, which was just a goal mouth scramble, and the dumbest of all dumb things happening, leading to
Ridiculous
a
goal.
Like absolutely ridiculous goal to give up, right? And not one where you're like, what are you guys doing? You're like, okay, this is like
How
something.
did it
This is the
happen?
FIFA glitch goal,
Right.
right?
It was
That
a
just
FIFA
happened.
glitch,
Like, what are we
yes.
doing? The headed back pass from Andrea Fontes, right? Like that
yeah.
whole that is one where Fontes is trying to clear that header. He's not trying to play that back. He plays it back to a guy who was offside, but it's a clear attempt to play the ball. So guess what? It's onside. So you have that. Then you've got the Peter Musa goal in the Open Cup,
Which dude's just gonna get goals.
dude will get goals, and that was a very good. It was a very good play by Dallas and good ball movement quickly. Danny Rosero bit, and like Thad said, it's a half second late. But then the goal last night, the whole thing, right? Back pass, self-inflicted, because Sporting were on a set piece. They were on a corner. They had no reason to do what they did. Ball flies back there. They go, you have the Casti slip on that play. You have Kyrie pretty much getting there to cut the thing out, and it coming off his foot weird and going in, and Melia unable to recover and get there. It was just like
So
so fluky. And so for me, I'm looking at these things. I'm saying, okay, it's easier to fix like self-inflicted things of like, Willie, don't make that pass. Johnny, don't make that pass, or kick it a lot freaking harder. Like those are some of those things of like, okay,
as opposed to Cucho and this team is just entirely breaking us down and our players aren't good enough.
yeah, or like it's taking 3 passes from the goalkeeper to the striker, and it's the ghost of Christian Hernandez or Christian Ramirez, not Hernandez, Ramirez, the old Minnesota striker that's playing for Columbus, and he scores a breakaway goal. He's as slow as Andrea Fontes. Like if they ran in a race, they would tie. And he had a breakaway goal because of how clinical the passing was.
I've always hated Ramirez for
So-
some reason. I don't know why, but I've never liked that guy.
It's just like those goals aren't happening, and to me that's a good sign because they've been better in possession. They've cleaned up a lot of those errors, and they've cleaned up a lot of the errors that were allowing them to be played through. They need to clean up the errors that
Now
are
it's just the really
leading
bad
to
errors.
just literal chaos and bad luck.
It's the mental and bad luck errors that are still happening, but you perhaps at least attribute some of that to the grind of the weekend, midweek games,
Yeah.
and 120 minutes in Open Cup and stuff like that. So bad field in San Jose, Johnny makes a pass that normally works, and tired leg, maybe mental judgment, and the bad field all combined to,
And they still almost got out of it.
and they still almost got out of it. And I mean, it was again just then it was the luck just didn't go the right way. The player slips, the ball comes off of a guy that's busting ass to prove that he can play, and it's a miraculous goal. So I'm not worried about the last one, quite honestly. It's the ones, some of the other ones in the past that were more worried about, but they seem to be cleaning up a lot of it slowly and getting better. And if they can get into a better rhythm and everybody healthy in rotation, hopefully that will be even less of an impact.
Well, a short turnaround for the Wednesday game, so the rotation is going to be a factor again. Vancouver is a really good team. They're only in 6th place, but they're playing well right now. Haven't lost in 4 straight, 3 wins out of their last 4. They've put 8 goals on St. Louis in over 2 games over that stretch. So that was actually the reason why Sporting jumped over St. Louis last night, because of that 4-1 loss they had to Vancouver at home. Vancouver's really good on the road. There's only Cincinnati and Miami have more points on the road than them, but they kind of struggle at home, Sperry. How are you feeling about this game?
1 is great, 3 is better. But like if you can get out of there with a point, I think you feel really good about Sporting and where they're at, because St. Louis is bad, like really bad, and really not healthy at the moment. They're quite banged up. So it's one of those things where like, man, if they can get a point and get another 3 against St. Louis at home, I think you're feeling really, really good about this team. But like you said, Vancouver's a weird team at home for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
But they've had a tougher home schedule in terms of opponents than on the road. They've played a lot of bad teams on the road so far. I think it'll flip around here a little bit too on the second half, the latter part of the season, as they have to face an LAFC on the road or something like that versus at home, because they've done a lot of those games at home, Miami at home, all those things. So,
you mentioned Vancouver's put 4 goals on St. Louis the last 2 times they played them. Colorado also put 4 goals on them in St. Louis. So it's
They're leaking goals.
yeah. The only result they got was in San Jose.
I know.
because they beat the Earthquakes.
Whenever I saw them playing San Jose, I'm like, oh, of course they get to play San Jose, and I was all angry about it. And then I looked at the schedule and saw we got to play them the week after.
It's the conference, man. Everybody gets to play everybody at least once.
I know, but like I said, I've kind of been. Don't tell anyone from St. Louis, but I've kind of been hate watching the table on that front.
I think you've already mentioned that you hate the Doom Loop City, and
I wouldn't say this into a microphone or anything like that, but I am hate watching St. Louis.
Why are we calling it the Doom Loop City?
Oh, Thad, explain the Doom Loop. Thank you, Sperry. We didn't even ask him to do that.
The Doom Loop is a city that is dying a slow death. And if you look at the real estate in downtown St. Louis, it is crumbling. It is being sold for pennies on the dollar. And the most recent one was a government-owned building being put up.
Big historic downtown building.
Historic, a great designer, architect built the building. It's right downtown on 7th Street. Like, it's near all the other stuff, and it's being put up on auction for the starting bid is $5 million, and they don't know if they're going to get
So
that.
Sperry, the Doom Loop that he forgot he was explaining is just the idea that people are leaving the city because of crime, and no one else, no businesses, nothing else wants to move in there to rejuvenate it, also because everyone's leaving. So it's just a cycle of how do you get out of this? While Kansas City, on the other hand, is like the exact opposite situation of growing and blossoming and building.
Kansas City went through its Doom Loop back in like the 70s, 80s, where everything was leaving. Nobody was wanting to be downtown, probably up even into the early 90s. And then the 2 states and counties did various projects to start getting things better. And, it's definitely in a different place right now. There's still problems, still lots of problems, but a lot of that stuff is being on the positive side.
Man, even when I was a kid, like downtown Kansas City was nothing there.
Yeah. I've driven through downtown Kansas City, and then you would literally see nobody.
Yeah.
Like
and
after
there are still
5:30.
areas of downtown Kansas City where there is nobody.
Right.
But
Like I said,
it's growing.
It's not
Exciting
perfect.
times.
Still problems, but it's gotten a lot better, and there's things to do, and people living there, and a vibrancy that's not really there in downtown St. Louis right now. And I worked downtown St. Louis for a year after I got out of the military, and the building that I used to work in is just people keep going into it, stealing stuff. They've had to not board it up, but iron plate it up so people wouldn't go into it, and then they climb over that and go up to like 2nd story windows and go in.
Kansas City is the greatest place in which to live. Anyway,
In the state of Missouri and Kansas.
I'm just quoting that. Have you ever seen that picture? There was a massive sign at one point downtown Kansas City that had that line on it. Someone just had this on the side of their building.
I've lived here for like less than a decade.
That said Kansas City is the greatest place in which to live.
If you've been here for a decade, you're probably not leaving.
I probably not.
We sucked you in, man.
I'm stuck. No, I'm just
What
kidding.
is
I
your
like
history, Sperry? Why are you here? Where'd you come from? I don't know
He's a
anything
San
about
Jose
you.
fan.
How much time do we got? I'm not a San Jose fan.
Quickly, this is not okay. Here we go.
Okay,
Practice for Sperry on not being long-winded.
I'm working on
Give
it.
me your background.
Good luck.
Give me your background succinctly.
Born and raised in farm country of California, which farm country of California is much more populated than farm country anywhere else.
Yeah, fair.
Turlock, California was my hometown, about an hour south of Sacramento, 100 miles-ish from the Bay Area.
Okay.
Northern side, so I hate Los Angeles. Went to school in Chicago, met my wife, moved here.
She's from here?
Yeah.
All right. We get them. We reel them in here
From
in
the
Kansas
old
City.
Olathe.
You did have some family that was from this area at some point also.
Yes, my dad's side of the family grew up out here. My grandma lived here until she passed. So I've been out here multiple times as a kid. Plenty of family reunions and stuff in the area. I still have family in like Lincoln and Manhattan, Kansas, out west a little bit. But yeah,
That was fairly short-winded.
It's pretty short. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy.
I had to cut him off there to make sure it
I
was,
know.
but it was pretty good.
I,
see
I
that-
wasn't really going anywhere else after that. So
No, you were.
It was going down a whole
You
other.
would have went somewhere.
Yeah,
down that
there was
path, man.
an entire.
Well, back in
other path.
Turlock, there was only 75 people who knew who I was, and things like that. He and I had this discussion coming back from Omaha on the Open Cup game.
Oh yeah.
So we carpooled and had a lot of time to kill while he was typing up a recap in the car.
Okay.
and trying to keep me awake because so I could keep you awake.
Wednesday night, fellas. Late kickoff, 9:30. These
Again.
West Coast games. Yes, another West Coast game.
Guess he'll probably be doing the recap again because nobody wants to do road recaps, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah, the West Coast midweek road recaps are. Yeah, those are tough. I can maybe do that one. I'll be home and watching.
It's like the first recap. Well, it's the second winning recap I've done in like 2 years.
I'm actually kind of happy for this late kickoff because I've got plans for earlier and Wednesday, so I get to do both. I can have a social life and get in a soccer game.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to be able to do this week. I have jury duty.
Oh, Thad's going to jury duty.
And put like the Law and Order. Bum bum.
Dun 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 dun.
Last time they had me in for the jury pool and they said, "Yeah, we don't want you." They asked me a question: "Have you ever been arrested?" And I responded, "In this country?" And they said, "Bye."
There you go.
Thad, you have such an interesting life.
Oh, that's good.
We're gonna get into all of that one of these days, and it's not gonna have to be succinct. We're gonna talk about the international man of mystery that you are. I want to learn about fencing. Anyway, final thoughts on Vancouver, or Sporting Kansas City in general, as we head into a big 2 games that Sperry's pinpointed. If they win, or if we get 4 points out of it, we're good. If we don't, then we're terrible.
No.
Is what Sperry said exactly.
No. But if you get 4 points, if you're getting 4 more out of this stretch, then I think you can maybe actually start to think about the possibility that they make a run.
Tingly, Thad. Tingly.
You can think about the fact that there might be a possibility.
Think about the might off chance of a possibility, a hint of an idea.
It's a long freaking shot, guys.
It was a long shot last year,
Yes, it was.
and they made
I
it.
still think there were more visible signs last year.
Power of friendship. Sporting!
The other side don't seem so tough, and 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.